Good afternoon, students. This is the third lecture in continuation of our last two lectures about balance of payment. In today's lecture, we will discuss about three components of balance of payment apart from current account and capital account. These are accommodating, dating transactions, autonomous transactions, and the third is errors and omissions. And omissions. We before going into detail of all these components, we should know why these are required. We know balance of in accounting sense. I have already explained you that balance of payment is always in balance. In accounting sense, the balance of payment is always in balance, or if there is any deficit or surplus in balance of payment on any of the account, current account or capital account, it will be managed by international liquidity account. So before proceeding, we should know what is this international liquidity account. If we know, we every country has some foreign exchange reserves to deal with the extraordinary payment situation of the country. So if there is any deficit in our current account, that deficit is financed by this international liquidity account by selling gold or by the reserves from the international liquidity account. Means this international liquidity account cancels all the surplus and deficit on the balance of payment to give zero accounting surplus or deficit. So now we understand that when there is a no thing of balance of payments, surplus or deficit, means it is always in accounting sense is in balance, then why countries are worried about balance of payment and balance of payment deficit and surplus? So one question arises about which we will discuss, and in that question the answer is lied about accommodating items, autonomous transactions, and or errors and omissions. So question is, if balance of payment is always in balance, then then what is the meaning what is the meaning of deficit and surplus on balance of payment account? So these two, this is answered by explaining the autonomous items, autonomous transactions, and accommodating transactions. So we should know what is autonomous transactions. Like the autonomous transaction itself suggests, autonomous means independent, independent of anything. When there is any transaction takes place without any adjustment motive of balance of payment, like deficit or surplus, is called autonomous transactions. So these are also called as, these are also called as above the line transactions or items in balance of payment. Understand, I think, what is autonomous items? Then if what so before understanding what kind of transactions comes under autonomous, we should know how deficit arises in the balance of payment. So the balance of payment is said to be in surplus or deficit if autonomous receipts, receipts means credit, are greater than autonomous payments. Payment, that means debits. So this is called that the balance of payment is in deficit. So how this deficit is financed, I already explained, from the international liquidity account. This is financed by international liquidity account by selling the reserves or buying or inflow in the capital account. Now the second part, that is accommodating transactions. This is also called as below the line transactions. This is also called as below the line transactions. Unlike unlike autonomous transactions, autonomous transactions, these transactions takes place to bridge the gap between the receipts and the payments. Means these transactions are takes place taking into account the deficit, balance of payment deficit, and balance of payment surplus. Now I think you should understand, but we can take an example also for making it clear the difference between autonomous and accommodating transactions. For example, if India, which is not a gold exporting country, is forced to export gold with some amount to settle its balance of payment deficits, then we say that this gold export is accommodating items, because this export of gold takes place to finance the deficit in balance of payment on current account. Understand? Because traditionally we are not an exporter of gold, and if we are exporting it to finance our deficit on current account. I have already explained how deficit on current account arises. Deficit on current account arises when we are exporting less and importing more, and that can only be financed by selling gold and receiving payments. So, but this is an example of autonomous transaction if this transaction takes place without considering the deficit or surplus. Now we come to the third part, that is errors and omission part. What is errors and omissions? Now we are in the last part of our lecture. So, students, we should understand that for a country it is difficult to record all international transactions accurately because of certain reasons like statistical and recording errors, smuggling, illegal and secret capital movements, and fourth, imperfect estimation procedure. If any transaction takes place because of any of the above reason, that transactions is recorded under errors and omissions. not in current account, not in capital account, not in international liquidity account, but in the name of errors and omissions. Means when we do not know why some capital inflow or capital outflow is going on, or why any transaction is going on, means that transaction takes place because of illegal reasons, is recorded under errors and omissions. So I think you understand what is errors and omissions. So all transactions transactions which does not lie in any of the account explained in above lectures would be included under errors and omissions. So this is, I think, clear to all of you. Now one more lecture is left for balance of payment. We will discuss final and last lecture about the adjustment in balance of payment. Thank you.